Hi guys, I'm standing in my kitchen today. It's August, and I have the last remaining poinsettia that I was keeping downstairs in my basement under lights. And of course I didn't really pay much attention to them. I just gave them minimal water. And two of them weren't doing so well. They're outside on the front porch, but this one is doing quite well. And right now, if you were to go to a commercial greenhouse, they've already started their poinsettias, and I thought I would give it a try to do this myself. So we're going to propagate this and try to raise our own poinsettias, and then hopefully eliminate having to buy them. What you're going to need obviously is a poinsettia plant, and if you forgot to save your plant from last year, you might want to consider it for next year. You just have to keep it under lights, keep it alive until you can put it outside, and when you're ready to put it outside in May, what you might want to do is put it in shade for about 7 to 10 days so it acclimates to the outdoor conditions. And then you can put it in full sunlight, give it some fertilizer about every 2 to 3 weeks, and even once a month would be fine. And then you'll start getting all this growth. And from this growth, we're going to take cuttings and start some new poinsettia plants. Now, some of the things you're going to need, first of all, you're going to need some place to put your cuttings. And I picked this up at the local hydroponic store. It's a flat with a cover, a high cover, and this particular flat has no holes in the bottom because we don't want water leaking out all over the place. Now the top here allows for some growth with the cover on, and it also has vents so that I can control the humidity to a certain extent right here. And we're going to need a rooting material. And what I'm going to use is vermiculite and perlite, which we have right here on the table. And what we're going to do is mix this up at a 50-50 mix, and I have some already mixed up here in the bucket. And I hopefully did enough to do some other cuttings because I also want to do some cuttings of lilac, although I'm a little late for what we call softwood cuttings this year. I'll talk about that later. And I also want to propagate some of my wife's violets and show you how to turn one violet leaf into, many plants. That's something we'll do a little bit later also. You're going to need some cutting materials, razor blades, sharp, clean razor blades, and a rooting hormone. This one happens to be by Bonide. It's called Bonide Rooting Powder. And you should also have a clean paper towel, because we're going to put the rooting hormone on that to take our cuttings. So, let's get our paper towel. And you should make sure that the plant is well watered before you take the cuttings. If it's dry when you get it, water it about an hour before. And we're going to pour a little bit of this rooting hormone on a piece of paper here. And we'll set this aside. The next thing we're going to do is put in our 50-50 mix. And when you're mixing this, I like to mix it outside, and I water it down a little bit to keep the dust down, because it's not a good idea to inhale vermiculite dust. And most of the vermiculite that you buy at the store for home gardeners is fairly small size vermiculite, so it does produce dust when it's dry. I have this little plastic container that I'm going to use to spread it. I don't want to make a mess in the kitchen. It doesn't have to be that deep. About an inch or so is fine. Looks like I'm going to have plenty of this left over. You notice I'm not using my hands. I'd like to keep those clean when I start to handle the cuttings. And then I just kind of press this down a little bit so I have a nice, even bed for the cuttings. Okay, I have many different places I can take cuttings. I'm going to start with the largest ones, and all I'm going to do is just kind of break it off where it's attached to the stem. Now you'll get a milky material that'll come out the base. That's the sap. It's in the Euphorbia family, so don't be surprised if that happens. And then the thing that you should remember is that when you are starting a cutting, it's most likely to root right where the leaves are attached. So if you want to be sure that you're going to get some rooting, take off some of the lower leaves so that you have some of that area exposed. And then we simply dip it in our rooting hormone. You don't have to wet it. You don't want too much of this rooting hormone on it. And then simply push it carefully into the media. And that's all there is to it. And of course, what I may do is mist these a little bit before I'm finished, or when I'm finished, so that they can stay very high in humidity because they have no roots. So they have to absorb water through their leaves. So when we are trying to propagate something, we want to keep the air around the plant as close to about 100% as we can. That way they're less likely to dry out before they have a chance to root. Now this rooting hormone is basically an oxalate material, and it's naphthalene acetic acid, or NAA for short. And what this does is cause cells to start to produce roots. And you'll usually get callus tissue on the base of the cutting first, and then you'll start getting roots from that. Okay, the job is completed. I didn't really need the knives because the sections broke off of the plant so easily. And one of the things that of course I like to do is I misted everything so that I had very high humidity. And right now I have the vents closed, and it'll take a few weeks for these plants to callus and start to produce roots. And one of the ways that I will know that it's producing roots is as I tug on the seedlings, they won't give very easily. And once they've started producing some roots, then I can put them in individual pots, usually in groups of 3. This particular pot has 3 plants in it. At least actually this one had, it had 3. Now there's a lot of growth still left on the remaining plant, and what you can do is just set this back outside, and when more of the little branches get larger, you can take more cuttings. The way it looks right now with the number of seedlings or cuttings that I have in here, as you can see, I probably have enough for about 6 or 7 pots of poinsettias. Now in the future we'll talk about fertilization, watering, pest problems, getting them to produce the red bracts and all the things that you need. And this of course will save you quite a bit of money if you like to do things yourself. It's a fun little thing to do, but you have to have the right lighting in order to grow them. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. And in my case, I'm probably going to move them out to the greenhouse when it cools down a little bit, and then I'll have to monitor whether or not I'm going to have to add some heat to them, or do I want to bring them back in and grow them in the basement under lights. So that's what I have for today, and we will have some further videos so that you can track the progress of this project. This is Heilig signing out.